Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say, in most places anyway. Welcome to Why Choose BoldTrail. My name is Natalie Urianza. I'm the Director of Customer Marketing and Agent Engagement here at Inside Real Estate. And I'm happy to be here joining you for another great session. If you've attended before, I apologize. We're going over the same information with slight variations. So if you'd like to revisit any of the content, feel free to hang out. I always like to start with this slide. We've got, this is kind of our family tree, if you will. It shows Inside Real Estate is the parent company here. We started as Conversion, if anyone remembers Conversion, and Conversion became KV Core. And over the years, you can see we've adopted some other platforms into our tech family. We've gone through and we've kind of selected what we believe are the most vital and practical platforms and brought them all under one roof because we believe that you should be able to access all of your tech under one login. There are a lot of different things you can use. You have to wear many hats as an agent. We understand that. And so, why make it more complicated with all the tech you have to use? Let's just bring it all together, make it easy. We've got all of this as a part of what is now called BoldTrail. So if you were using KV Core, KV Core's not going away in the sense that it's just becoming BoldTrail. So all of these different pieces you see here, we've brought them all together, taken the best pieces of functionality, and we've created one tech platform that you can use to manage and grow your business, which is really exciting for us. BoldTrail is going to continue to be the brand name, and it's going to be where we innovate and create all of our new solutions and enhancements. So it's an exciting platform to be a part of. We have all of the staple kind of pieces of tech. This is a question I get often from agents. They always wonder, do we still have these features? Yes, you do. So I did put a list up here. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are the pieces we get the most questions about. And so wanted to throw this up here and make sure you feel comfortable and confident that the platform you're using has all of these different pieces integrated. And I wanted to talk about a couple of new things that we've got. So if you're switching from KV Core to BoldTrail, if you've made the migration and you have logged in, you've probably seen some of these newbies, right? And if you've not, if you're using BoldTrail for the first time, here's a couple of things to keep an eye out for. So we have the new navigation system plus Omni Search. So we've just been calling this the Omni Search bar. What's great about this is it really streamlines the functionality in the platform. So previously in KV Core, this was really intended to just be able to search for contacts. What we've done with Omni Search is we've added the ability for you to search functionality, tools, help articles, and even to take actions right from here. So this is going to be your Omni search, your one search bar to manage the platform and be able to locate any tools. So you don't have to click around and try and find things. You could just type in something like schedule a mass email and it will pop up in this list for you. So it makes it really easy to use, very intuitive. We've also made some enhancements to the mobile app. And what you're going to see with the mobile app is that it's faster and smarter than it has ever been before. We have streamlined the navigation here to make it make more sense as you're logging in and using it. We've cleared up the task actions and we've updated the UI. We know that there is still some innovating that needs to happen here, and we have some exciting enhancements coming up that I'll actually cover more toward the end of this presentation. But the mobile app is key for us because we know it's key for you. We know that you need to be able to manage your business on the go. A lot of people do that from the desktop version of the platform, but the mobile app's going to be so much better and easier to use, and we're just going to continuously work on enhancing that until it does everything that you need. The custom pages editor, this is one I've been really excited about and I love, and I talk about it all the time, and I know agents use it all the time, but this is a way for you to create custom content on your website and really tailor the experience that you're giving to your audience or your market, right? It's also a great way for you to convey your brand, your niche, whatever it is that differentiates you from all of the competitors in the space. And you can do it all without coding, and you can do it all without having to pay somebody to do it. It used to be that either you had to, pay one of our web developers, or you had to go pay a freelance web developer, unless you know how to write code, and to have them create something custom for your page. But now we have these beautiful templates, and they're all just click and drag, super easy to use, it's editable, inline. And so probably the easiest way to do it is go to your Web and IDX settings, click on pages, select the template you want, and then you can really create anything you want there. And then the other great thing is you have the ability to create custom navigation on your homepage on your website, or you can nestle the pages under an existing category. So this is a game changer, one of my favorite new features. And there's much more, right? We've got a modernized interface. There's a cleaner user experience. The call and task management have had enhancements to that experience, making it easier for you to know what you need to focus on when you log in to do your daily activities. And then the MLS listing deduplication has been huge. This is great because we realize a lot of you may board with multiple MLSs, and having all the duplicated listings can feel really messy and convoluted. So this allows us to clean that up and let you display one singular listing, just making it a better experience for you and for your consumers. So let's talk about our why. There's this quote here: you don't automate to get rid of the human, you automate to amplify the human. This is a lot of what we do, why we do what we do, right? There's a lot of automation out there. There's a lot of AI coming into the industry, and these are tools that really can have a positive impact on the way you manage your business. It's not meant ever to replace you. You're irreplaceable. And but there are areas where it can help you be faster, make better, stronger connections with your leads and with your database. And it can help you get in front of people in ways that you can't do just as a singular human being without technology. So I want to talk about how that helps you. But before we dig into that, we have to sort of talk about what our roadblocks are. So when we think about these roadblocks for increasing your GCI or your transaction volume, these are the buckets that it always boils down to. We've been in the space for a long time. We talk to a lot of agents. We know the challenges you run into. And what we have found is that it generally boils down to a lead generation problem, a lead follow-up problem, a lead conversion problem, or a client management problem. And there are some pretty stark numbers here that I won't call out all of them, but I wanted to point out a couple of things here. So when we talk about lead follow-up as an issue, there's this stat that tells us that almost 50% of leads that get generated never get followed up with. And then the last line under lead follow-up, consumers become a lead 8 to 10 times before choosing their agent. So think about, if you are not following up with these leads, they're becoming a lead in 8 to 10 other agent databases. And if one of those agents follows up, guess who they're going to work with? The other agent. Or it could be you. It could be you if you've got a great follow-up plan and system in place. The other thing I don't have listed here is that it's something like 71 or 73% of consumers work with the first agent they talk to. So if you let that sink in, the first agent they actually connect with, 73% of consumers will work with that first agent. Some things to think about here. And then with client management, there's this, if you survey consumers, 93% of them say that they would absolutely work with their agent again. But the reality is only 15% actually do that, right? And so that potentially could stem from a follow-up problem, a communication problem. But overall, these are the challenges we run into. So basically, oh, I've got a question coming in here. Give me just one moment. In the new BoldTrail, do we still have to pay separately for web page hosting? So with the IDX website you have, that's a great question, Will. With the IDX website you have, you don't pay for hosting. If you have a vanity domain that you want to use, you can buy a vanity domain from BoldTrail and we can host that for you, or you can buy it from somewhere else and have it hosted somewhere else, but then you would manage your CNAME records and all of this setup and things like that. So great question. But yeah, just if you're using your regular provided web page with your provided domain, subdomain, then no, there's no additional cost for hosting. Okay, so back to the conversation here. The reason I ran over these roadblocks is because I wanted to kind of carve out why we innovate the way we do. And it's really to solve these 4 problems. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. There are 2 other things that we kind of need to talk about in order to understand the landscape in the real estate industry today and understanding your consumers. So the consumer demand, this is really about how consumers are doing business today and what they expect. And a lot of that is driven by their experiences that they have with companies like Amazon and Google. Even though that's not real estate related, it's consumer experience related. And we live in a digital age where people can be super connected and they can get things really quickly, whether it's information or even products. And then they also get this really tailored experience. So these big companies are driving consumer demand, but they're doing it in a way where you sort of have to figure out, how do I create a similar experience for my consumers? Because this is what they're expecting when they do any kind of business online. And then the other piece of this, we talk about big dog competition. So this is companies like Zillow, Rocket Mortgage, Porch, and these are really big competitors in the space, right? And they are aggressively pursuing your consumers, but they're doing it to make money, right? You're looking for consumers because you want to make money too, but you're trying to get listings or move listings, and these big companies are monetizing off of the same consumers that you're trying to connect with. So it's a different experience, right? They're going at it a little differently than you are. And before we get feeling too depressing here, I'll just move on to this next piece. The good news about those big portals is that consumers still really love the individual one-on-one agent experience. So the stats I've got up on screen right now were pulled from NAR. And what it tells us is that 90% of consumers start their search online, which is to be expected. And 85% of consumers actually are visiting a individual agent's website, not the big portals. They're visiting agent websites. And then they've also registered on agent websites for listing alerts. So 75% of those consumers are registering for listing alerts, which is interesting. And we know that listing alerts are a huge driver of why leads engage online at all, because they want the pictures and details of homes. So personalization is key. You'll hear me talk about this all the time. This is something like I talked about earlier with the consumer demand. You can see Amazon up here, Instagram, LinkedIn, Netflix. Some of these are social media and some of them are product driven. Some of them are service driven. But what they all have in common is that they all have a sort of algorithm that picks up on the consumer activity, and then it tries to deliver more content that it believes the consumer is going to engage with. And you have the ability to do that in a way. So before we start diving into BoldTrail platform and the tools that can help you overcome those challenges, I want to just lay out this foundation for growth. So the first piece, the first pillar, if you will, is be found. So anybody who's trying to grow their business, this is going to be a critical component of your business, right? You have to be found by new consumers. So this is how you're filling your pipeline, getting new leads, things like that, getting found and getting in front of eyeballs of people who you don't already know or don't already do business with. Being connected is more revolving around how you're connecting with those consumers once they're in your database. So now I have leads. How am I going to get connected with them? How am I going to generate more conversations, right? If goal number 1 is generate leads, goal number 2 is generate conversations. Conversations are so important. You can't get a closing without having a conversation. And then being involved is really how you get involved at different stages during the consumer timeline. Some of it is through automation, and some of it is personalized outreach. And then there's also this big, long life cycle that happens after the transaction where you can remain involved in your consumer's journey. And you can benefit by either getting referrals from them or, attract them again when they're ready to buy, sell, move, whatever it is. So this is your platform, your foundation for growth. If we dive in a little bit deeper to be found, the way I like to think about this is your IDX website is your online storefront. So if you had a coffee shop where it's all location, 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 right? So where would you put your coffee shop to make it get higher traffic? And then what are you going to do for marketing to drive people into your coffee shop? You're going to have the best coffee probably. It's going to reflect your core values as a company. And you're going to have consistent information for people, great customer service, right? So same thing with your real estate business. You don't have coffee grounds and a drink menu. You have pictures and details of homes. You have local area information. You have maybe blogs and articles or newsletters about your area, your niche, your expertise, the things that differentiate you. And so all of that lives inside your IDX website, your storefront. And then really it's your responsibility to drive traffic to your store. So obviously you're not on a street corner. You're actually online, and the way you drive traffic to an online store is different than driving traffic to a physical store. You still have marketing components, there's lead gen components, but you can actually see, you can send people there from YouTube, or you can get referrals, past customers maybe sending friends and family onto your website. Sending out emails and things like that are going to drive people back into your website. So it's all about generating traffic to your online store. And then we've got your lead funnel. So understanding the lead funnel is really important. I think a lot of agents, when they go and they're generating leads, they assume when I generate leads, the leads I generate are going to want to talk to me and they're going to be ready to transact. And that's just not the reality. The reality is it's going to look something more like what you're seeing up on screen right now. If we take 10, I'm going to take 10 because this is across the board industry standard. We see a lot of agents are generating 10 or less leads per month, and you'll see why that's important. If we drop 10 leads into this funnel, we know you're going to be able to connect with half of those. Whether it's a text message or a phone call, you'll either have a conversation with them or they'll send a text message or respond to an email. It doesn't mean they're ready yet, though, right? So if you talk to 5 people, out of those 5 people, we can also make another assumption that half of those will be ready to actually start looking, right? So if we say, well, we'll say 2 to be safe. And out of those 2, how many are actually going to be ready to transact in the next 3 to 6 months? Half again. So it's either going to be 1 or maybe even less than 1, right? In the next 3 to 6 months. So you can understand why driving traffic to your online store, being found, filling your pipeline is important, because if you're only getting 10 leads per month and it gets cut in half, your opportunity to talk and connect and transact gets cut in half every single time. You need a bigger number going into your funnel. So we find that there's a sort of sweet spot around generating 40 or more leads per month. Of course, that's going to depend on your business and your goals. And there are lead calculators and things like that you can do to figure out specifically what you need for your business. But bigger numbers are going to equal more transactions, just because not everybody's ready to transact right now. And then the cool thing is, because we know that, and we know that they're not ready to transact right now, at least dumping those into your funnel is going to get you enough in the next 3 to 6 months. And then the ones that weren't ready, who are more top of funnel, those become ready later on. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into the next section. But I also wanted to just talk a little bit about this time and money kind of concept. You're already doing this. I'd be willing to bet you're all spending time on generating leads, and you're all spending some money on generating leads, whether it's printing out flyers or running ads or, creating posts, whatever it is, you're already spending a little bit of time and a little bit of money. Maybe that's working for you, maybe it's not, but there's a lot of different ways you can do this. And I would just recommend trying all these different avenues. So I also always get the comment, well, you have Facebook and Instagram on time and money. I know. we do that for a specific reason, because tell me of an agent who's doing real estate who doesn't post on Facebook. If we were in a room right now, I know I would see 0 hands. So everybody's posting on Facebook or Instagram, right? If you get a new listing, you're posting it. You're probably posting a market report, and that's great, but your reach is only so big. You can only reach so many people when you're posting on your personal profile or your business page, because that's really only going out to people who follow you or you're friends with. And maybe you might be getting to some other folks through your friends' networks. But really, in order to maximize your reach on Facebook, you've got to be running ads or posting in community groups or things like that. Running ads that are targeted through Meta are really effective in getting you in front of people who don't know you yet. So we list those, the Meta ads and the Meta posts, because there are different aspects of generating leads, and they serve a completely different purpose. So one is getting in front of people to generate leads, and one is getting in front of people you don't know to generate leads. Hopefully that makes sense. And we have tools in the platform that help you do that. So we've got this Promote a Listing Playbook. This is probably one of our best tools and also probably one of the most underutilized. This really brings together all of the paid, well, I say all of the paid, there's one paid for solution in here, but it brings together all of the free solutions for generating awareness around your listing. Even to go so far as to email agents in your brokerage and let them know you have this new listing that they can share with their contacts. It will actually help you find matching buyers in your CRM, people who have the same kind of search criteria set up for search alerts. And you can share this out as a good candidate for a listing they might be interested in. The one paid for option is a property boost. It's still very low cost. It's under $100 if you use our most popular ad. And that generates leads for you, and that gets you in front of, that is a meta ad that gets you in front of new people who don't know you, but they're very targeted in the area and the age range, right? So Promote a Listing Playbook is awesome. We also have a lot of other lead generation tools. So here's the property boost tile I was just talking about. There are other paid resources that you can get ads set up for depending on your budget. My screen just glitched, but I think we're good. And then we've also got landing pages and squeeze pages. You have call and text capture that you can use with your smart number. And the text codes are really great for capturing leads, and those are linked directly to you. So anyone who texts into that number using your code will go directly into your CRM. If you have your own smart number, you can, really post that anywhere, and then anybody who calls in is captured as well. So so many different options here. And the nice thing about IDX squeeze pages that we love is that they are constantly updating because they're connected to IDX. So the squeeze pages it's really like a single web page that's in your website, and it could be to a listing or to a list of listings. So you could say, I want all listings in this area that are under $800,000, single family homes only. And then you can take that link and you could just post that once a month on your Facebook page and say, check out this list. Here's your list of homes under 800 in this area. And you don't have to recreate it because it just constantly updates, and homes that go off market go off of your list. Homes that come on market go into your list if they meet the criteria. So they're really easy to use and track. And then, like I said, we've got a lot of other solutions in the marketplace that can generate leads depending on your budget. If you're looking for buyer leads or seller leads specifically, we've got solutions for those. If you're wanting to get a larger number of leads and you don't have an ISA, or you want some help with nurturing those leads, Success Assurance is a great option as well. That's our in-house nurturing program, essentially. And so that's your options on lead generation, right? And how you get lead generation using BoldTrail. So now let's talk about being connected. So before I was saying, this is really like, I have leads in my system. Now what do I do with them? How do I connect with them? Here's where that stat was. The 72% of consumers work with the first agent they talk to, right? We know 92% of transactions originate online. We know pictures and details of homes are the number one driver. We know a lot of leads generated online are what we refer to as phase one. I'll dip into that here in a minute, but keep that in mind. These are people hiding behind the wall of the internet, and they're not necessarily ready to talk to you yet. So the other important thing I wanted to call out here is the demographics. The demographics are really important because they want different things, first of all, And second of all, they communicate differently. So if you're talking to somebody who is Gen X or Boomer, they're probably more willing to hop on a phone call with you, or they're more receptive to door knocking. If you're talking to somebody who's millennial or Gen Z, they probably, or Gen Y, I get mixed up on the different generations, but millennial and down, they probably would rather text message or email. They don't really feel super comfortable with that in-person communication. And so they're going to be more receptive to different types of communication. This is important because your BoldTrail platform allows you to communicate differently with people. And using things like smart campaigns can be great because it can pull together all these different multi-channel communication. So it can set up tasks for you to call clients. It can send out text messages on your behalf. It can send out emails. It can send out links so people can just click and interact. Really, the goal here is to give the most personalized experience that you possibly can. And demographic goes a lot into that. So let's talk about the consumer timeline. This is always a big aha moment whenever I teach this kind of concept. And this is game changing if you can think about it this way. So I think statistically speaking, probably 85% of your leads are going to fall under phase one. Phase one can take 13 to 16 months, depending on whether they're a buyer or seller. And that's not time to transaction. That is, they could be in phase one for a full year. What is phase one? Phase one is, we consider it the pre-research phase. The more I teach this and the more I think about it, it's really people who are interested in buying or selling a home, but they don't know what they want. To the extent that if you call them and ask them what they want, they're going to tell you to buzz off because they don't know what they want. And it's easier for them to tell you, I'm just looking, or I'm not interested in talking to you. It's easier for them to tell you that than to say, you know, I am interested, but I'm not really sure what I want. It feels overwhelming to them, right? So that's how you think about people in phase one. These are the people who are just gathering information. They want to hide behind the wall of the internet. There's this LP Mama framework that we talk about, that it's the questions that you need to answer so that you can really help your contacts. So what location are you looking in? What's your price range? Have you been pre-approved for a mortgage, right? You've got these LP Mama questions. And the way to think about this is, if I'm in phase one and I don't know the answer to those questions, then I'm not going to talk to you. So as an agent, the way you think about that is, okay, I'll just let them keep searching on my website, and then I'll check in with them periodically. And then when they are ready, we can have a conversation. So the people who are ready to talk to you, those people are in phase two, typically. Typically speaking, they are going to be phase two. This phase is around 6 months. So this is a great phase actually to be in. This means they're probably ready to transact within 6 to 8 months. By the time you start talking to them, it could be faster. It just really depends on what's motivating them, if they're pre-approved, if they know exactly what they're looking for, you know, and if what they're looking for is available. So phase two, I really feel like this is the sweet spot. This is where you want your leads to be. But like I said, a lot of them are in phase one. So how do you get them to phase two? You don't. You actually don't get them into phase two. There are probably things you can do to help them through the phases. But as an agent, you just need to know to keep pulling people into your funnel and keep nurturing them, and watch for signs that they're becoming active. So, you know, all these leads you're generating, if they're not ready yet, that's okay. Keep sending them information, keep periodically checking in with them. And then at some point, you're going to see them opening more listings or, becoming more active on your website. And you can see that in your BoldTrail dashboard. Or they could start raising their hand and saying, hey, I have a question. And that means that they've done all the pre-research they can do on their own. And now they're starting to need an expert, and that's you. So, phase 3, I won't spend a lot of time on phase 3 because everybody knows what phase 3 is. This is where you're actually in the transaction mode. I think that that's probably about all I would say here, other than if you knew that every lead you brought into your platform was going to transact in the next 2 years, how would you nurture them differently? Just something to think about there. So now all of that talk about phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, what is your number one goal when you get a new lead? I usually hear get another appointment or close the transaction or, sign a buyer's agreement, whatever it is, close the deal. So, which those are all great goals to have, but your number one goal when you get a new lead really has to be stop the search. So getting an appointment is a next step, and that's great. But how do you eliminate the competition? Whether it's a big portal, whether it's another agent in your area, understanding that they become a lead 8 to 10 times, how can you stop the search? How can you be the person that they talk to and engage with? Because 73% of consumers use the first agent they connect with, right? So number one goal is stop the search. And these are 4 strategies, 4 tools that you have in the platform that can help you do that. So number 1 is search alerts. We love search alerts because we know that this is the most relevant content to online consumers. It's pictures and details of homes. Great way to drive people back to your website. If you are sending out listing alerts, another good thing I love about it is that you can manually activate these and send them out, but so can the consumer. So a lot of times you'll get people on your website and they'll set up their own search alerts, or you'll set up a search alert and then they'll go in and edit the criteria because they can manage it on their own. So this is great, especially for leads in phase 1. And then you also could get a lot of hand raisers from this where maybe they want to, change the criteria and it's not something that they really understand how to do, or they want to change it completely or whatever, but it's conversation generating and that's what's important. And then you've got market reports. These can go out monthly in addition to what you're probably already posting on Facebook, right? You could even use your market report as a post, right, on social media. But having something really consistent like this is a great way to get in front of people and say, hey, I'm active. I'm an active agent. I can tell you all the monthly stats for the area. And this can be automated as well or manually triggered. And then similar in nearby listings. This is one I love. And we actually have some automation coming out that will do something similar here. And I'll show you that here in a few minutes. But what I love about this one is you get people looking on your website. They've clicked on a listing. And then when you log in for the day, you can go and see all of the activity on your BoldTrail homepage. And you can see who looked at what. And all you have to do is click on a listing that one of your contacts looked at. And on that listing page, there's a button that says similar listings, and there's a button that says nearby listings. And these are listings that even if somebody has a search alert set up, these are listings that meet the criteria, but they're not going to be sent to your consumer because only new listings go to the consumer. Okay. So this gives you the ability to provide a really tailored experience, a really personalized experience, where all you have to do is click the check all or select the listings you want and then send it via text or email. and just put a little message in there. Hey, I saw you were looking at this house. These homes are also on the market and wouldn't make it into your search alert. So I just wanted to make sure you got eyes on these, right? And it's like going above and beyond, and your consumer is delighted, and they just think that you are the bee's knees because you went the extra mile and sent these other listings over. So it's a great way to connect with people. This one's not automated, but super easy. It's literally a couple of clicks, and then you've got a really personalized message going out, and consumers love it. And then smart campaigns, I always debate whether I should break out smart campaigns and behavioral automation, but I end up not doing it, but I'll talk about the differences here. So both of them will send out automated communication on your behalf, kind of based on either triggers or behaviors. So smart campaigns, you can set up the trigger to be a hashtag or a source. Where did the lead come from? Or it could be based on activity. So if they've become active, it could trigger a certain campaign, right? Or if they're a new lead, it would trigger a certain campaign. All of these messages are editable. They're all pretty generic right off the bat. And if I can give you some unsolicited advice, as I've been doing this entire time anyway, but use the smart campaigns, use them, and use the behavioral automation. Even if you haven't been able to go and update the messaging to be in your voice, especially for new leads, they don't know what you sound like. And so that's very, very unimportant for new leads, unless you have like a really specific message that you want to send out. And if you are adamant on only sending out messaging that sounds just like you, just commit to going in and updating those messages. It's really easy. There's an inline editor, and basically you're just cloning the campaign, and then you're just going to go type in your copy and update it, but make that commitment to yourself that you're going to go and update those, because you should have smart campaigns on. This helps you get speed to lead. It helps you get connected, and it helps you stay involved with these contacts you have so that you can have more opportunities. And then the behavioral automation, the thing I really, really love about this is it actually alerts you when people are entering phase 2. When people are exhibiting high intent behaviors, it sends you a message and says, oh, hey, pay attention to Sally over here. She's looked at 5 properties in the last 2 days, right? So the automation here, again, it's not meant to replace you. It's meant to enhance you. Use the automation to your benefit. It really is game changing. And then let's talk about the secret to staying involved. So really it's 2 things. It's providing paths back to your website, constantly driving people into your online store, and depending on the phase they're in, new listings or pictures and details of homes is just not going to be enough to keep traffic coming into your store, right? So you have to have compelling content is number 2. And by the way, listings are already connected to your website. So all this phase 1 kind of stuff, your website is already geared toward nurturing people in phase 1. But there are some really cool things you can do for phase 2 leads. And I just wanted to point out this. There's a couple things here I wanted to talk about. But overall, just remember that there's nothing more engaging to your consumers than what they're already engaging with. So one of the low-hanging fruit I always talk about is FAQs. Everybody you interact with in real estate has questions, and there's a lot of questions that are the same questions. So you know what they are. Just make a little FAQ page using the Pages editor and pop that onto your website. And when people ask you questions, go, hey, I have this frequently asked questions page on my website. A lot of what you're asking me is on here. If you have a question that you don't find an answer to on here, let me know. But it's a great non-invasive way to get in front of people, keep conversations going, keep them coming back to your website. There's also like local area information. People love hyper local content. So I've seen a lot of agents do things like create custom pages that talk about an area that's really popular, things to do on the weekend, or 25 things to do in this area. Or you could maybe be the agent who has a page talking about things coming up in the community, whether it's events, or maybe you're the agent who knows all the new businesses coming into town, or when the new park is going to be ready. But there's a lot of hyper local content opportunities, even partnering with businesses and doing some networking, professional networking, that will actually boost your interactions, broaden your audience. And that kind of content is gold to put on your website. So when we talk about relevant content, that's great. The behavioral insights, so these are actually the behavior triggers that will alert you. These are the behaviors that will trigger alerts to you in the platform. So I'm not going to read through all of them, but these are 11 activities that we track that tell us that somebody may be becoming more active. And then the behavioral alerts send you a message that say, hey, this person's doing a lot of activity. And then it'll also connect with the person and get you that speed to lead and say, oh, hey, I noticed you've been on the website a lot. What can I help you with? This is your dashboard. So this is where I'm talking about you can log in and see all of the activity. And when I say you see somebody looking at a listing, you just click on that, and that'll take you to the listing page where you can find the similar and nearby listings. So everything is really just within a couple of clicks. All you have to do is log in and take advantage of that. So as we are getting closer to wrapping up, I just wanted to run through these numbers again in a different way. So we talked about a lot of these things, and hopefully this just visually will represent and make that come together for you. But we know that agents who are adding consistently 40 or more leads per month are doing 5 times the transactions than agents who are only adding 10 leads or less per month. And remember, the industry's standard, or average, not standard, hopefully not standard, is agents are generally adding 10 or less leads per month. So if that's you, how far do you have to go to be on the higher end there? Consistently add new leads. Follow up quickly. Agents who are logging into the platform, agents who are logging into their platform at least one time per day are doing 9 times the transactions of agents who only log in once a month. So, or I'm sorry, once a week. Man, I'm killing these stats here today. I'm sorry. So logging in every day. I just did a panel with some agents on another session where I asked, because they're super successful, they're having so much success with the platform, and they're just crushing their goals. And I said, so how many times a week, or how many times a month are you logging into BoldTrail? And they actually said, I just live in there. It's always open. I'm in there multiple times a day. It's not just a once a day kind of thing. But we do know people who log in once a day have these kind of results, these 9 times results. And if you're going above and beyond that, it's only going to get, I don't know where all these notifications are popping up. I apologize. Okay, and then number 3, engage with multi-touch alerts. So we know that agents who have, I want to say 50% or more of their contacts on campaigns are also doing 3 times the transactions. So these are key tools and strategies for you to use to continue growing and having success in your business. All right, and then we also have so many cool training resources. We've got product training, we have strategy and business training, we've got live webinars, we have on-demand courses, we've got short form videos and long form videos. There are downloadable resources, and we have awesome communities full of agents and admins who are just really wanting to be your peer and help you succeed as well. So take advantage of that. Join our BoldTrail Training or our Bold Academy. We're here to support you. Couple of future innovations here. I wanted to point out a couple things. We've got the home search AI. This is what I was talking about, an AI enhancement that sort of serves that purpose of the similar and nearby listings. So what this does is it actually surfaces listings that have high match potential with your consumers without you having to lift a finger. So this is really cool. Keep an eye out for home search AI. And this is great because, again, it goes and searches your IDX and finds these listings that would be really high potential matches for your consumers who are already looking at listings, and they may not otherwise see these. So really talking about a tailored experience and personalizing your outreach. Home Search AI is going to turn this into an engagement and referral machine for you. It also gives you a weekly report so you can see how many contacts that are in your database who are eligible for alerts, new alerts that were set up for inactive contacts, all of these different stats, see who's opening emails, how many click-throughs you got. So just really great data that you're going to be able to take action on. I also talked about the mobile app, some more enhancements coming to the mobile app. This is also getting an AI booster. This is really cool because this can transcribe your call, so you're not having to do the sticky note thing and take notes and then worry that you missed something. It'll actually transcribe it for you. It can also set up search alerts on your behalf based on your conversation. It can set up tasks for you. So it's going to become really smart and really kind of like having a personal assistant in your pocket, which is the way your mobile app should be, right? And then we've got Folio. Speaking of personal assistant, this is a personal assistant, AI personal assistant that lives in your mailbox. So, or your email box. And basically it just helps to keep track of all of these important emails and documents and dates so that nothing slips through the cracks here. It can actually filter things into smart folders for you, keep track of your timelines and sync appointments and things like that, important dates to your calendar. Deals, I'm very excited for deals. This might be one of my favorite features coming out. There are different milestones that occur for every single transaction that you have. And what Deals does is it pulls out all of these milestones and it helps you sort of reverse engineer and figure out your own conversion rate. And it's based off of the number of leads that you get into your platform. How many of those leads are you getting actual conversations out of? How many of those conversations are turning into appointments? And so on and so forth until you get to closed. And so this isn't just giving you an industry average, it's telling you this is what your percentage is. And if you think you can do better, it gives you all the data you need to work on, maybe you have plenty of leads, but you're not converting them into appointments. So you have all this data here and it gives you all the percentages. So it's really cool, really insightful, and just takes all of the guesswork out of what you need to do to convert. So that is Deals. That's kind of a fun note to leave off on. But I guess I will end on this slide that we see here, just committing to you that we inside real estate are committed to being a reliable, proven tech partner to you. We're committed to providing the service, training, and support resources that you need to scale your business. And we're committed to continuing to be an innovator in tech and technology. So, BoldTrail, you're already migrated over to BoldTrail. If you were on KV Core, you don't need to do anything. Just log in and take advantage of the end-to-end ecosystem and be better on BoldTrail. Thanks for joining.